What's up everyone, this is Trendkill Toys back with another review, and this time I'm taking a look at the new Tekken 8 game dimensions from Bandai, Tekken 8 Jin Kazama. Previously we've had the Kazuya and the Heihachi from Tekken 7 from Bandai, and the same line, so pretty similar, but there's a couple of upgrades from those older figures, and I thought those previous figures were pretty good. I mean, there were some things that were limiting about their articulation and some things that weren't that great, like the paint detail and the sculpt and things like that. But overall, for the price, I'd say they're pretty good figures. So we're going to see how this one stacks up against those. I know I didn't post a review of the Heihachi and Kazuya, but I will show them later towards the end of this video for comparisons and things like that. But I'm really excited to get into this figure and share my thoughts with you guys. And I'm interested to see what you guys think about this figure also. So I'm just going to get right into the figure first. Quickly take a look at the packaging. They have some screenshots from Tekken 8, so that's how you know it's from Tekken 8. It even says Tekken 8 on the box in various places. The character Jin. Got a picture of the character from the game. Anyway, with that out of the way, so we'll take a look at this figure. And right away, I really like the sculpt of the figure. I feel like they did a really good job sculpting the musculature, on the abs right there. Shoulders nice and big. The biceps, you can see the musculature through the arm wrap, and then the gauntlet. A decent job, no wash or anything like that. The hands are also very good. So the upper body is good. Head sculpt is actually better than I expected. Didn't think it was going to turn out this good. It's not great, like it's not as good as maybe something that we would see from like Fig Arts or Figma, one of those import companies. It's close enough to the likeness of the character, and the hair sculpt is also pretty good. But the biggest problem is with the way that they did the pants on this figure. So you can tell you can't see any sculpt lines or anything like that because it's not plastic. It's actually a very thin rubbery material that's put over the plastic. And this is the most important thing that I wanted to show you guys in this video, in this review, is that this is really bad. Like, this is terrible. If you saw the short that I made, I posted it yesterday as of recording this video, and I mentioned how bad the pants were. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on how bad these the pants really are, because it's really unfortunate. And I knew it wasn't going to be good when they showed the promotional images of the figure and the renders or whatever, the fake pictures of the figure for promotional purposes. It looked bad already. So having the figure in hand, I wasn't really looking forward to that part, but this is worse than I expected it to be. So I mean, right away you see when you bend the knee, there's weird creases in the pants, but that's not all. You also get chipping on the paint, and this is the worst part right here. I just bent that a few times and it already started flaking with little effort, and even on this part over here. So it distorts the image, and it just makes the picture on the dragon, look bad. The design is good, the paint is good, the way that they applied it, but just the kind of paint they use doesn't stick very well. And the fact that it's this cheap rubbery material. And the first time I moved the legs, there was like a crunching sound, and I think that's because the paint was like getting crunched and it was like flaking off. So that's not a good sign. So the legs are pretty much useless in terms of the knee area, but you can still get decent range, kicking out, kicking up. It does have that drop down hip sort of articulation going on, so you get decent range that way. But when it comes to the knees, that's where it pretty much kills the figure, and it just kills the aesthetic of the figure, the look of the figure. There are some ways to fix that, and I'll provide some of those ways in just a second. First, I want to cover the rest of the articulation, which is pretty much the same if you have the Kazuya or the Heihachi. It's pretty much the same. It does feel like it moves tighter, smoother. So you have, the ball pegs in the shoulders, and the neck area is also good. Head movement is pretty good also. There's some gapping on the bottom of the neck there, but that's not too bad. Torso, I feel like you get a bit more range than some of the other figures, but it doesn't look that great. You can see it creates gapping on both sides, especially when you move it back. So that's not the greatest thing. And you can see some of the paint flecks. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but the paint chips and it flakes like crazy. You can see it on my fingers right there. It just, when you're handling this figure, that's just, you just have to deal with that. That just happens. Very annoying, hugely disappointing for this figure. I mean, this is Jin. Like, he is the staple character of Tekken. Besides Kazuya, this is like the Tekken character. So really unfortunate that they treated this character that way. He doesn't deserve this bad of a figure. Like, that's really disappointing. In the hands, he does come with 2 extra hands, and I'll show you how those go on. These are also very nicely sculpted. He also came with an energy effect, which is not that great. It's one that we've seen before. I think it's one that came with Kazuya, and here's what that looks like. Just red. It kind of looks like a blood effect. It's okay, you know, but it's just reused from a figure we've already seen. So there's what the alternate hand looks like. Pretty cool. And the ankles, actually, you get a lot more range than normal because the pants are rubbery, so it's not going to hinder the ankle articulation. So that's pretty good. I guess that's an upside to this horrible pants situation. Yeah, if the paint chipping doesn't bother you, then I guess you would really like this figure, but that really bothers me because it just distorts the look of the figure, in my opinion. I see what they were going for, but in execution, it's not going to work with this line. They would have to throw a lot more money at the production of this figure if they wanted it to look good. So I really hope they don't do that going forward. They can make jackets out of rubber, and I'll bring in the other figures here to start doing comparisons. Like the rubber on this, the Heihachi gi, is good. It feels a lot more sturdy, a lot more flexible. You know, there's no paint on it, so the paint won't chip off. There's paint on the back, and I feel like even this is executed a lot better. Like, you can like pull it and stretch it and like scratch it, and it's not flaking off. But this thing flakes like crazy, so the Heihachi one is just overall just a lot better. We'll do some size comparisons, and then I'll show you how you can fix this pants situation. So this is what it looks like next to his grandpa. You know, it's pretty good, as you would expect. And here's what he looks like next to Kazuya. Kazuya's a little bit taller. That makes sense. And I think that looks, these 2 figures look really cool next to each other. Now I'll do some size comparisons with some other lines. Here's a standard Marvel Legends figure. This is the modular Iron Man. Here's G.I. Joe Classified General Hawk. Here's Motu Masterverse Man-at-Arms 7-inch figure. So he's a lot taller than Jin here. So now I'll show you some ways that you can sort of upgrade his look here. You know, give him different outfits to wear, similar to what he wore in the game. So my favorite part about this figure is actually not the base figure, but what you can do to improve upon the base of this figure. And one of the things that I really like about this figure is that the pant legs and the underwear piece are actually very easily removable, so you can put different things on there, and I'll show you what that looks like. So the way you move the rubber pants is actually very easy. You just have to take the leg off, and then you take the foot off the same way. It's on a ball joint, and you slide the pants up the leg, and then you can see how the leg is sculpted underneath. And it does kind of mess up the design on the pants, but at this point I don't care if this gets ruined any more than it already is. But here's what the leg looks like underneath, so it's not even like a full pants sculpt under the leg. It's just like a weird kind of leg sculpt underneath. The other leg is also the same, and then you get to the underwear piece here, and the torso actually separates. You have to slide the belt off. This is made out of plastic. This is made out of that same rubbery material. So you just slide that off, and then you have the legs with the fake pants off of it. And now that you have the pants off, you just reattach everything back together, and you can put on different pants that you want. So the first thing here I want to try is just putting on some pants on the legs, and I'll show you how easy that is. Since there's not really any like big muscles getting in the way, you can just easily slide you know, different sizes of pants on with no problem. So there's what that looks like, and then putting the feet back on. What would make this better is if you had different shoes or different feet. I haven't really messed with that too much, but if you had like shoes that are this big, you know, as big as his feet, then that would just be another way you could upgrade the way this looks. But here's how he looks with these pants on. And so here's what the figure looks with different pants on. You know, it just gives you a different look, and it shows you the different things that are possible with this figure, with different parts and things like that. And I'll show you that you can also put the belt on. So putting the belt on, here's what that looks like. Pretty cool. I think a different style of pants would make it look better, but so far this is what I could come up with. And yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Another problem you run into is when you put like a shirt on him or a jacket, these belts are going to get in the way. So what I like to do is actually swap his torso with the Kazuya torso, and I just swap the heads. You could clip these off if you wanted to, but I don't really want to do that at this point. So actually what I figured out is that you can swap the arms onto the Jin body, you can swap the Kazuya arms onto the Jin body, so then you don't have that problem with the arm belts getting in the way. And here's what that looks like. So Jin torso with the Kazuya arms on it. So now we can put shirts on him, jackets and sweaters and stuff like that. So we got Jin with his sweater and his pants on, kind of something that he would wear in the game, I think. You guys let me know what you think about that. You could definitely make it look a little bit better. Have you know, different kind of pants. And here's another one. For this one, you can actually leave the original arms in into his torso. So just overalls, you know, Jin with overalls. Sort of a weird farmer type look, but you guys can let me know what you think about that. Now here's one that I think is pretty sick, probably my favorite one so far, and this is actually really close to something that he wore in the earlier Tekken games that he was in. And it's pretty much just like a jumpsuit, prison outfit or something like that. But I think this looks really cool. The only thing bringing it down is that he doesn't have any like cool sneakers like in the games. That's probably the biggest negative about putting different clothes on him, is that there's nothing really that we can do about the shoes. I can't think of any other figure that has shoes big enough that would fit proportionally with this figure. But again, let me know what you guys think about this. I think this one's pretty sick. Here's another outfit for Jin, and this is gonna have to be the last one, but this looks pretty sick. I think this is more like a prison outfit, traditional one, than the last one. This also works pretty well, and you see the original arms also look pretty good with this too. You guys let me know what you think about this. I think all these are pretty sick, but I think this one, and especially this one, so I think things like this are gonna work a lot better. But definitely if you find like different feet, different shoes, that's gonna make the figure even more better. So yeah, basically that's everything that I wanted to show. And of course you can also swap the legs if you wanted to do that. Give him Kazuya's legs and then paint the legs black, paint your own design on it. That's also something that you can do. That's a lot of work, so I won't be doing that. But that's pretty much it for this review, guys. I do like the figure, but I hate the way that they did his legs. That's really unfortunate that they went that direction, and I hope they never try that again, because this is not the kind of line that can do those kinds of things. So I hope to stay away from that. Sometimes it'll be good, like with the Heihachi. I still think this is my favorite figure out of this whole line so far. The Kazuya is also very good. There's not really any big problems with it. They do have pins in them though. That's the one upgrade that Jin has. He's pinless, because Jin's not even that much better than the previous figures. Like, he's pinless, which is fine, but he's got that problem with his pants, and that really drags the figure down in my opinion. I still think it's a good figure, especially if you're a customizer and if you're kind of intuitive, kind of improvise different customs and things like that, you know, like what I just showed you. So that's definitely something you can do, and if you like doing that, highly recommend getting this figure. If you're a fan of Tekken, get this figure. If you like displaying figures and not touching them, then I think you could also get this figure if you wanted to do that. But not me. I like to play with my figures and put different stuff on them. But that's all I got to say about this figure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about some of the customs, some of the different clothes, outfits you saw in this video. And let me know if you guys are getting this figure, or if you have this figure, let me know what you think about it. And you can always follow me on Instagram to check out more pictures of this figure and other figures in my collection. But that's all I got to say about this figure. So we'll see you in the next one.